Pay no attention to the red face situation that we got going on here. I got the sunglass thing going on. Kind of embarrassing. We're gonna kind of ignore it. We're just gonna keep it moving. But today we're doing tank updates in the house. All right, first up we have the planted 40-gallon breeder. This is a predator tank. That is a red-tailed Chalceus back there. I know long term this tank will not be his home forever. We're actually moving soon, so this tank is going to be moved into a 125 that will house him. And there's 2 Bichirs in here somewhere. Oh, there's one. Just missed one in the back there. That is a Senegal Bichir. A little bit of algae on these plants, but a water change will get rid of that. So that is a Senegal Bichir. He'll get about a foot long, maybe up to like 15 inches. And they actually breathe oxygen, so he'll go up to the top and take a breath every now and then. See, he's real pretty though. You can see all his scales. See, but he doesn't like the camera. He's a little camera shy. So this tank is actually not doing bad. But, so this is a soft coral dominant reef tank. And if you could see, we got a pretty bad algae problem going on here. There's a clown in quarantine. He had a little like eye infection thing that we're healing right now. It actually looks healed already, but he's been in there for a couple days. We're going to give him another week or two, probably another week or two while we figure out this algae problem. I put on these new lights. See, these are like some Amazon lights that I just picked up. They're actually really good lights. They're crazy bright though. I am not paid to talk about these lights. I'm just talking. This is not sponsored. This video is not sponsored by anyone. We got some mangroves growing out of this tank. Primarily soft corals. We do have a few LPS. That's like a button scolie there. We got this guy, which I'm not even sure what that is. I think it's a lobo of some kind. See, I turned on those new lights, and immediately I got this crazy explosion of algae all over the tank. Like, all these rocks are just covered in green hair algae right now. I'm going to leave them off for a few days, do a good water change, remove most of that algae, and then we're going to clean this filter good, because it's that sun right there. We're going to clean that out real good, and then we're going to suck all this algae out, and then we're going to have to keep an eye on our levels and ramp these lights back up real slowly so that hopefully that algae won't come back. But the corals themselves are doing pretty good. Nothing's really suffering. It's just not the most beautiful thing to look at right now. But we're going to clean all that up, and it'll be looking a lot better. And we'll be doing more of these updates. So next we have the grow out tank. Remember, there's 2 Bichirs in this tank. I actually have a third one, but he's a baby. He's a little baby. He actually still has, so that's a Delhizi Bichir, and you can see from his stomach, he's super full right now. I just fed him, but I gotta do a little water change, suck some of that junk out. But he actually still has his gills. So when Bichirs are born, they have gills sticking out, kind of like an axolotl. They look like axolotl gills, and I'll put some B-roll in that shows that. But he's growing out in there so that when we move in like a month, when this tank gets upgraded to a 125, we can put all of them together. They like to mess around. He just likes to chase him around. But there's a bigger Bichir in here somewhere. I just don't know where he is. So, I mean, this tank's kind of boring. Just got, a bunch of hornwort, some other stuff. Actually, this is cool. So this is Rotala that I've been growing immersed. And if you look at the leaves, that's Rotala indica. But that's what the leaves look like when it grows in the air. So I just let this grow out of the tank, and then once it transitioned into its like air form, I just stuck it in the top here, and I've just been letting it do its thing now. So that's kind of an experiment. I'm just going to see what that does, what that Rotala does. But it's cool looking. I'll show you the tank I'm not stoked about. And this has no living things in it. But, I mean, aside from the macroalgae. This is a macroalgae jar that I just kind of don't really pay any attention to. And it's overrun with algae. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I'm going to have to get better with macroalgae, because obviously I don't know what I'm doing there. What's up, pal? Now this tank, this is kind of like my plant holding tank. It's got like that's a bunch of water sprite that's just floating. And then these are some Java ferns that I had nowhere else to put. But there's a bunch of white cloud minnows in here. That is a female killifish right there. That's the female. I have her boyfriend in another tank, and we're gonna breed them. So let me show you real quick. So this is just a little 6-gallon that I have a bunch of pothos growing out of the top of, and I kind of like hung it on this plant hanger thing, and just have it. I just have the roots growing in the water here, and now it took over and kind of is blocking this light. This is actually more mangroves that I'm growing in freshwater. I figured I'd see how they do. But this is kind of a low light tank. So there's no real light, going into the water. It's that light is for the mangroves. And they seem to be doing pretty well. There's 3 of them right there. Once I know more about them, I'm going to do a whole mangrove video. But I've actually been growing these things for like a year. Eventually, that'll shoot up into a tree, but it's probably going to take like years. Like the same thing with these mangroves. I've been growing for over a year now. I think it's just about exactly a year. And they're growing super slow. So that's kind of the waiting game. But in here, which is what I wanted to show you, he's in the back there. That's the male killifish. He's pretty. If he came out, I'd show you what he fully looks like. I'll try to get some B-roll of him to splice in here. I could use a water change. There's a little bit of junk down there, but no issues, really. So we got the boom boom tank. We got the grow out tank. We got the planted show tank, which is going to be a 125. Oh, and then this. So this tank, when we move, is going to be the next reef tank. So obviously we're going to do a video about that when the time comes.